Matt from Unlimited, here to review TLC 2011. Remember when I said 2010 was bad in WWE? Well, 2011 wasn't exactly a whole lot better. In fact, some may argue that it was even worse. I'm probably not in that range, but I will say one thing. The same thing that I said about TLC 2010, the best thing I can do to sum up the way I feel about 2011's TLC pay-per-view was that it ended 2011. 2 straight years of crappy TLC pay-per-views after TLC 2009 was really damn good. And you get TLC 2010 that was all about burying the Nexus as if they weren't buried enough. And 2011 was just WWE showing exactly what the hell is wrong with them. You have some of these matches that really didn't benefit anyone, really didn't help anyone, really didn't establish anyone, and it's pretty much the same old WWE crap. I will say, though, that the opening match was worth it. Everything else you can skip. If I'm being completely honest here. When your best match is your opening match, that's not a good thing. Zack Ryder defeating Dolph Ziggler for the United States Championship. Now, I can look at this in 2 ways. Dolph Ziggler, 3 straight years, still holds a mid-card title. Zack Ryder, he finally got his moment in the sun. He finally had all the fans on his side. He finally had the support. And he wins the United States Championship in this really good moment to kick off TLC. This match was solid. These guys have good chemistry since they are good friends. So I understand that. And the match was a good way to kick off TLC 2011. But as I said, when your match of the night is your opening match, that's not a good thing. Air Boom versus Primo and Epico for the Tag Team Championship. Remember Air Boom? I don't. Because a majority of Air Boom, Evan Bourne, was on the freaking suspended list. That's all I have to say about that. Randy Orton defeating Wade Barrett in this tables match in one of the most predictable finishes you can ever have guessed. Randy Orton wins another match that he shouldn't have against another guy that needed a win, that needed a moment, that needed some sort of spotlight. Same old you-know-what. Randy Orton goes over in another match that he shouldn't have. You have Beth Phoenix defeating Kelly Kelly. Divas Championship match. Bathroom break. What really frustrates me about everything in 2011 was everything that the WWE did with CM Punk. Everything that the WWE decided to do with the Summer of Punk storyline, which ultimately blew up right in their faces because they are morons. You have CM Punk walking into Money in the Bank as the challenger in his hometown of Chicago. The world is watching. Everyone's wondering. He puts on this classic match against John Cena. It was probably the best match that either of them have had. And you have Punk go over, and as a result, he leaves Chicago and he leaves the WWE with the championship. That is all fine, dandy, and great, except 8 days later, there's CM Punk. Back on Monday Night Raw, surrendering all of his leverage, and pretty much destroying the entire storyline. Now, you can sit here and say, well, he had great matches against Cena, so in the end it was worth it. No. It meant more than just having good matches. You need to be able to tell good stories, and you cannot do that if your top guy is losing all of his freaking momentum. CM Punk, in this entire story, lost all of his momentum that he gained, and in the end it became all about Triple H and Kevin Nash in this sledgehammer ladder match. Excuse me. Yes, that's right. Triple H and Kevin Nash faced off in a sledgehammer ladder match at the TLC 2011 pay-per-view. That happened. To me, the perfect epitome to how stupid the WWE can be. Why was this needed? Why? You already had Punk lose to Triple H when he shouldn't have. Then Punk and Triple H form a tag team and lose to the Awesome Truth. Then you have Punk finally win the WWE Championship back. He's buried in the mid-card. The one positive thing I could say about CM Punk on this pay-per-view is that he main evented the pay-per-view as champion. One of only 5 times that he actually did. Remember the 434-day title reign? I don't want to. Then you get Sheamus versus Jack Swagger. Skip. Big Show versus Mark Henry in this chairs match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, you talk about frustration. I have to say one thing. When the Nexus debuted, they had all of the momentum on their side. They were taking out everyone that moved and everyone that freaking breathed. They had all of the momentum in the world. They had everything riding on their shoulders. They had everything in their corner. All eyes were on the Nexus, and you can argue that at the time, Wade Barrett was ready for the title because he had the tools that he needed. All he needed was the big win over the big opponent. Well, here, Big Show versus Mark Henry, which Big Show won, finally defeating Mark Henry, finally winning the World Heavyweight Championship. And you decide that this was the right time, the right place, at the right moment to give Daniel Bryan the World Heavyweight Championship, cashing in his Money in the Bank on the fallen Big Show. Wade Barrett, at the time, was ready. Ryback was ready. People like The Miz, they were ready. What made Daniel Bryan ready for this spot? Didn't have a big-time feud with anyone. Didn't really have a big-time win. Yeah, he won Money in the Bank, but he lost every big match that he was in afterwards. Wasn't even featured on Survivor Series. Excuse me. And you thought this was the best time for him to cash in. Why? I know what a lot of you are thinking. It's Daniel Bryan, so of course I have to support it, right? Because everything that Daniel Bryan does is gold, right? Wrong. This entire this entire Money in the Bank run of Daniel Bryan was terrible. You give him Money in the Bank and then you have him lose every match that he's in, just so that way he can cash in his Money in the Bank on a guy like the freaking Big Show, and then all of a sudden he could suddenly win matches. Stupid WWE booking, as usual. Now, I said before that the best match of the night was your opening match between Zack Ryder and Dolph Ziggler, but when your second best match of the night involves a wrestler that's not even active, that shows you the type of show that this was. Booker T facing Cody Rhodes for the IC Championship was a solid match, and it was the co-main event of the TLC pay-per-view. How sad is that? That this match was better than pretty much anything on the card other than the opening match. And of course, most importantly, or at least to me, Cody Rhodes went over against a big-time name like Booker T. So, what else can you ask for? Now, I said before how frustrated I was with how WWE handled Alberto Del Rio in his first year on the active roster. I also mentioned my frustrations with CM Punk's entire 434-day title reign, the entire Summer of Punk thing, and now I get to mention my frustration with The Miz. Because here's a guy that in late 2010 and early 2011 was the top heel in the company. He had the mic skills, he had the personality, he had the one characteristic that no heel today seems to get, and that is the ability to do his job, to play his character well. And now, here he is going into WrestleMania 27, and he goes in as champion and walks out as champion. And nobody remembers that because it becomes all about Cena and The Rock. Just so that way you can have Miz lose the championship the month after at Extreme Rules, just so that way you can put him in this random-ass tag team with R-Truth, just so that way you can lose to The Rock and Cena connection, just so that way Miz can fade into mediocrity, just like everybody in WWE's mid-card. So now you have 3 WWE screw-ups in 2010 and 2011. They're all in this triple threat TLC match for the title to close out the pay-per-view. You've done so much crap with all 3 of these guys, and all 3 of these guys are in the world title match. How sad and how pathetic does that sound? With all the crap that they did with them. Losing matches that they shouldn't have. Being in feuds that they shouldn't have been. You know, terrible booking and horrible character handling, whatever. And here they are. And you could argue that neither of them are ready for this spot again. Because you've done so much wrong with all 3 of them. That, I'm sorry, this match just felt like a random match. And not a WWE Championship match closing out a pay-per-view. So, I summed up 2010 in one word. Meh. I'll sum up 2011 with one other word.